Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to announce that we have some technical difficulties with respect to Zoom we're trying to resolve. So we are going to begin at approximately 7:15, in case anyone would like to take a step outside. So we're planning to start at 7:15. Thank you for your patience. Good evening. Welcome to the August 24th, 2026 Millbrae Planning Commission meeting. I call this meeting to order at 7:18 p.m. This meeting is being recorded, so please speak clearly for the record. Will staff please call the roll?
Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Chan,
Here.
Commissioner New,
Present.
Vice Chair Quigg,
Present.
Chair Choi.
Present.
All planning commissioners are present.
Thank you. If you're able, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Agenda review. Are there any requests to change the order of the items on the agenda? No, we're good. Thank you. Since we have no changes to the order of agenda, we'll proceed with the approval of minutes. Are there any questions, comments from fellow commissioners?
There are some corrections. Like an old template or something. In the attendees, I'm not chair, he's chair, Kathy's vice chair, and I'm a commissioner. So that's page 1. And this is just, I mean, you did a really good job with just hearing them out in the world, but we can correct the spelling to Christine Balthazar and Lawrence Capel. If you want, I can give that to you in writing. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis.
And if we make those corrections, I make a motion to approve.
Any second?
Second.
Oh, well, either way. I was late on my button.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Public communications. This portion of the agenda is reserved for those who wish to comment on any item not appearing on tonight's agenda. However, the speaker must address subject matter within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Every speaker will have 3 minutes. Do we have any speaker slips or Zoom?
We do not have any speaker slips or hands raised on Zoom.
Thank you. Public hearing. We have one item on public hearing today, and that's for 1030 Crestview Drive. I believe Jennifer Lim is the planner. If we could proceed with staff report, thank you.
Good evening, Chair Choi, members of the Planning Commission, Jennifer Lim, Associate Planner with the City of Millbrae. I am the new project planner assigned to this project in place of the previous contract senior planner. Tonight, I will be presenting the item at 1030 Crestview Drive, and I would just like to note we did receive 2 additional public correspondence this afternoon, and those have been printed and placed on the dais for review. So this is a public hearing for a design review permit application to allow a 3,149 square foot front and rear addition and a remodel of an existing 1,897 square foot 2-story residence, and a conditional use permit to modify an existing non-conforming garage encroaching into the required west and north setbacks, and an exception request to retain the existing substandard parking spaces in the single-family residential R1 zoning district. So this project is located within the Millbrae Meadows neighborhood. The project is in the R1 zone. It's a 19,967 square foot lot. 15,464 square feet of that is counted towards the net site area. The existing residence is 2,342 square feet, and the project proposal includes a 3,149 square foot addition. The front of the home will remain 1 story in the front and 2 stories in the back. Here's the existing site plan and the proposed site plan. The proposed addition areas are shown in gray. The front yard landscape requirements and rear yard open space requirements will be met. Here's the proposed main floor plan. The proposed addition will have 4 bedrooms and 3.5 baths on this floor. The proposed lower floor plan includes 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and an attached ADU outlined in red. Here's the proposed west front elevation. It will feature light gray fiber cement siding and ebony aluminum windows with white wood trim. Natural materials are utilized with the stone veneer wall at the front and entryway and wood finishes for the garage door and front door. Here's the proposed north elevation. The upper floor addition area is set back to meet the upper floor setback requirements. And the same for the south elevation, the upper floor setbacks will be met. The proposed rear addition or rear elevation and the 3D renderings. So the proposed split level 2-story single family residence is designed with colors, materials, and a roof that is compatible with the neighborhood. In order to approve the design review permit, the Planning Commission must make the following findings in accordance with Millbrae Municipal Code Section 10.05.2500. So design review permit finding number 1, 2, 3, and 4. This project is considered substantial improvement per Building Code 9.10.055 as the combined square footage of the interior remodeled area and the proposed addition is equal to more than 50% of the existing square footage of the residence. Since all substantial improvement projects require compliance with the applicable planning regulations, the project includes an application for a conditional use permit for the existing front and side setbacks and a revised roof line, and an exception is required to maintain the existing substandard size garage. The conditional use permit is required for the existing front setback as it is 15 feet 5 inches where 20 feet is required, and the existing side setback 4 feet 11 inches where 5 feet is required. The revised roof line would lengthen an encroaching building wall but would not intensify the degree of nonconformity. The proposed additions to the front and rear conform to the required setbacks for both the ground floor and upper floors. The Planning Commission must make the following findings to approve the conditional use permit per Millbrae Municipal Code Section 10.05.2520. That's number 1 and number 2. Millbrae Municipal Code Section 10.05.2100 requires single-family dwellings to provide 2 garage spaces per unit. The required dimensions for the garage parking space is 10 inches in width and 20 inches in length. The existing non-conforming garage is 19 feet 8 inches by 21 feet 4 inches. Therefore, the garage does not meet the required parking requirements, so the project does not propose any changes to the garage, and an exception is required to maintain its non-conforming size. The Planning Commission must also make the following findings to approve the exception per Millbrae Municipal Code 10.05.2530. So a total of 6 adjacent owner consultations were sent out to the adjacent neighbors. Those include 1034, 1024, 1017, 1021, 1025 Crestview, and 960 Larkspur Drive. 2 forms were returned in support of the project, 2 forms were returned in opposition, and 2 forms were not returned. Only these 6 adjacent neighbors are required to be notified with the proof of adjacent owner consultation forms. Additional public correspondence was submitted by neighbors in attachment 5 of the report. The main areas of concern and opposition involved the landslide, hillside safety, bulk, massing, height, and setbacks, as well as views, privacy, and solar access. Neighbors expressed concerns regarding the landslide to the north of the project site that occurred in March 2000 between Crestview Drive and Pinehurst Court, and has documented history of instability which led to the adoption of the annex to the 2010 Association of Bay Area Governments Local Hazard Mitigation Plan, Taming Natural Disasters. Neighbors expressed concerns that the addition would be larger than the surrounding homes and the reduced side yard setback and height. The proposed addition would cause privacy impacts and have concerns there will be impacts on neighboring views and solar access. So to address the landslide and hillside safety concerns, the applicant submitted a geotechnical report in attachment 6 of the report that concludes that the subject site is geotechnically suitable for the proposed additions. This report would be reviewed in depth by Building and Safety during the building permit application review phase as well. A neighbor submitted a landslide map showing where the landslide zone is shaded in blue on the screen. The applicant has overlaid the proposed development on this map showing the addition area is not located in the landslide zone. So in response to the bulk, massing, height, and setback concerns, the proposed addition area is shown here in yellow. The existing residence reflects the same pattern of development in the neighborhood, split-level homes on hillside lots. The addition meets development standards as the proposed FAR is 40.4%, where a maximum 55% is allowed, and a proposed lot coverage is 29.3%, where 50% is allowed. The 675.6 square foot attached ADU is not subject to this design review permit as it is a ministerial approval. The rear addition to the residence is 27 feet 8 inches in height, which is under the 30-foot allowed maximum height. The proposed addition would have a south side setback of 8 feet at the ground floor and an upper floor setback of 4 feet. This reduced upper floor setback of 4 feet is allowed since the ground floor setback exceeds the maximum required 5-foot setback. In response to the views, privacy, and solar access concerns, although privacy is not a design review requirement, the applicant attempted to address privacy concerns. The applicant has prepared a window study for both floors. The window study shows that there's no direct alignment of the 3 windows of concern in red. The applicant has also provided a solar access study showing the adjacent property's southern access exposure is not impacted by the proposed rear addition throughout the year during daylight hours. To reduce privacy impacts, the applicant has provided revised plans raising the windowsill height by 6 inches for the 2 larger windows at the rear end of the south side elevation on the main floor, and the middle window on the upper floor is a clear story window designed to reduce privacy impacts. The applicant has also changed the ADU sliding door on the lower floor to a 30-inch by 30-inch casement window. The top image on your screen is the before and the bottom is after. So story poles were erected on July 17, 2026 to depict the height and addition areas of the proposed project. This photo was taken from the adjacent neighbor's rear yard to the south by staff. The proposed addition would partially obstruct northern views of the San Bruno Mountain from the southern side of the subject property, while eastern and southern views will remain unchanged. This project is categorically exempt pursuant to CEQA guidelines, section 15301, class 1, as the 2-story addition to the existing 2-story residence results in an addition not more than 10,000 square feet, is in an area where all public services and facilities are available to allow for maximum development, and the area in which the project is located is not environmentally sensitive. Also, none of the exceptions under CEQA guidelines section 15300.2 apply, as the site is located in a fully developed residential area. It does not present unusual circumstances that would create a reasonable possibility of a significant effect on the environment and would not contribute to cumulatively significant impacts. So all of the noticing requirements in Millbrae Municipal Code 10.05.2900 have been met. The public hearing was noticed and posted at least 10 days prior to the hearing in the newspaper, in the mail to the property owners within 300 feet radius of the subject property, at the project site, and at 3 places along Crestview Drive. So with that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission receive the presentation, review the report, consider the public testimony, and approve a design review permit application to allow a 3,149-foot front and rear addition and a remodel of an existing 1,897 square foot 2-story residence, a conditional use permit to modify an existing non-conforming garage encroaching into the required west and north setbacks, and an exception request to retain the existing substandard parking spaces in the single-family residential R1 zoning district. Staff and the applicant are available for any questions.
Commissioners, do we have any questions for staff? Commissioner Chan?
Thanks for the presentation, Jennifer. So a couple of questions. So when we see a lot of these split level proposals, usually the main floor, the applicant wants to continue it back to the same dimensions as it is in front, and they apply for a conditional use permit to avoid having to set back just because it's now a second floor in the back. So was there ever any part in the history of this application where they did not intend to, where they were seeking that conditional use, or were they always complying with that setback requirement?
As far as I know, they were always complying with the upper floor setback requirement.
Okay, great. Second question is, so this project reminds me a lot of the 990 Larkspur project, which was also developed on the same hill. I believe Commissioner Davis, you were on the Planning Commission at that time. I don't think, unfortunately, any of the staff here was on staff at that time. But in that specific case, I remember, I went back and watched the video again, but I remember that at that meeting, when it came before the Planning Commission, there was a there was a peer review of the geotechnical report, and the community development director at the time said that the building official had studied both geotechnical reports and had cleared them both. So that hasn't happened for this project yet, right?
No, but if it goes to plan check, our building and safety staff will review the geotechnical report.
Okay, the other thing I remember at that was that it was it was heard by the city council because there was a zoning change, and they actually continued the hearing on the design review permit because one council member wanted some more information about the geotechnical study. So I know there's some limit on how many times a design review permit hearing can be continued, but so if for whatever reason the commission wanted to wait for more information, how many times could we do that?
I'm not sure of the number offhand, but I think you can continue to the next meeting.
Okay, thanks. That's all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question. Thanks, Jennifer, for the presentation. I wanted to ask about stormwater management plan. That's one of the requirements as listed for Public Works. I want to ask if that has been submitted at all or if that's been a consideration in the plans of the design for the project. Since this project is a relatively large addition, per C3 stormwater guidance of San Mateo County, anything that, or any single-family home that is more than 2,500 square feet in addition or replacement of impervious area, which this does qualify under, would have to have some sort of site design treatment for runoff or stormwater considerations. It does not need any formal best management practice to manage the stormwater because it is less than 1,000 square feet that's required. However, based on the plans of the based on the design of the plans, it looks like the building footprint is basically extended all the way to the maximum buildable footprint right up to the easement line of PG&E. So that leaves very little room for any sort of site design measurements or measures to manage stormwater.
Yeah, so all of our, yeah. The applicant can answer.
Alex Zhang here. I think we still have a presentation, but normally I thought we'd present and then you ask, but that's perfect time to roll me in.
Actually, do you mind if we allow him to answer that during his presentation?
That's okay. Actually, I would very much rather answer that first. Yeah, so that's okay. My presentation start with the.
So point of order, if it's okay, if I could ask the commissioners to ask the questions, and as part of your presentation, if you can answer the questions.
We can do that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you. Are you finished with that question?
And yeah, that's the only question I had. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No question? All right. So Michelle, do the presentation come now or public comment first? Okay. So if I could ask the architect to make a presentation about your project.
Thank you. Sorry,
Thank you.
I jump ahead.
No, not at all. Thank you.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for spending time here tonight. Special meeting. I'm architect Alex Zhang. I'm familiar with the two ladies commissioners. The gentlemen are relatively new, but I've been around doing these jobs. So firstly, for the stormwater management. So there are multiple things we could do, but most of the time it's not contingent for a planning project like this at this stage to work out something, but it's a very, very straightforward answer. The natural runoff goes to the back. And we have a humongous landscape area, which Millbrae always allow us to actually drain water to the landscape area. And with our site is actually, I don't know whether it's a curse, but we are 20,000 square feet lot. So we have plenty of space to actually absorb stormwater. If not, there are also three other ways to deal with it. The most unwanted way is to pump it to the street back upward. That's not what we're trying to do. The second way is to actually create dry wells. And I think Commissioner Newell, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, but Newell, I think you are thinking that probably there will be hardship for us to pass through the easement if our building is at the easement. But in actuality, we actually have success if we actually just need to go through PG&E easement on the underground when they're using upper or vice versa for a trench that leads into the dry well that is further down on the site. So multiple things we could do, but I actually am pretty certain that natural landscape drainage pattern would do. So that's, while not fully considered, it's somewhat in my head considered. Okay, so I'm just gonna dive in. I know I still want to bring attention to the design, the backstory of this, even though I know most of the discussion is not really about design, but please hear me out for, my client, Stephen, and Mom Nancy. So Mom Nancy is retiring, and she is selling her house in San Francisco, wanting to come and live in Millbrae with Stephen, who just got this house. A 20,000 square foot lot. When you try to build a house, you need big lot to support. And in Millbrae, most lots are 6,000, 8,000 max, maybe 10,000. Rarely you have big lots. So when you buy a big lot, it fulfills their need of a multi-generation, mom, them, brothers, siblings living in there. So Stephen wants the top, mom goes below. That's a very, very normal way of separating different generation while under the same household, but then not really together. So that has been their plan, and Stephen wants to take care of mom. So when we designed this, being around for a long time, I already know that I'm entitled to build a 30 feet tall building, but I choose to go against their will. They want at front, I want, big, 2-story, 30 feet, as high as we want. I said, no, Nancy, don't do that. This is Millbrae. Understand the neighborhood. I think you should just go 1 story in the front. I want to make it so high, so blah, blah. I said, don't, because there's a neighbor behind that can enjoy view above your roof that, be sensitive about it. So after a while, she understand, okay, then, but how do I get my building? I said, go towards the back. Then Stephen says, hey, there's the easement. I can't build all the way back to the ground. This lot is I can't use or something. I said, no. Within zoning ordinance, there are rules that dictate what is bulky, what is setback, what is daylight planes, shadows. You have general, robust zoning rules to govern what that is. And I would say, please try to respect on these and leverage on my understanding of views, what Millbrae wants, what view is being protected, and come up with a plan like this. That's why we don't go up, we go down. We just extend continuously. We don't change my garage to be anything bigger. We just keep the general garage size, even though it's undersized. I talk him out of it. At the point of spending exception fee just to keep a 19'8" versus 20 feet. That's how much I try to gear our design to what Millbrae likely wants. Now, my building on top, you can see is 4 bed, 3 bath, 1-story, open living dining kitchen. So at the back, when a building is this long, 3,000 square feet this long, it will be fairly long. There will be side walls that calls for windows. Originally on the side, if you can show me the original side elevations, we have 3 bigger windows, sorry. But after having an initial consultation with neighbors, we decided that, okay, at least the middle one, we could lift it because we will be staring at your house or close enough, even though not directly, but at an angle. So we agree to neighbor to actually raise it higher. So now we have, instead of 3 big window, now this one go this way for privacy reason. But think about a long building from the within, all of a sudden I lose the datum. But that's something that we try to do. On top of that, maximum 30 feet, we're at 2710. We, at many points, try to not just make the maximum for our benefit, we actually go way under. But at least for a project like a $2 million built project like this, we want to get what the clients want. And so there we go. We have a very, very simple building that is somewhat mini modern, but nothing extraordinarily out of Millbrae character. We use the most standard Millbrae homes materials like stucco, sidings, trims, black windows, low pitch roof. Like especially we try to make it as low as possible. Richie, do we have 3 on 12? 2 on 12. Why do we pick a 2 on 12 instead of 4 on 12, which is better the drainage? Because we want to make sure that I can make it as low as we can, and while achieving a building mass. So in front of you, it's a building that, yes, it was meant to be a altogether about 5,000 square feet home, like in the combination of top and also the under story ADU. However, we try our very, very best to actually use the established zoning ordinance and design guidelines and everything within our requirements. We're actually not even asking for any exceptions for this design. We tried our best to have agreement or compromises. We did offset, as the planner has said, Jennifer, that we have offset our windows on our right side a few times, except that at the very, very end window, we really want to see out at eye level in clear story window. And this is actually one of the windows that has not been an agreeable item with the next door neighbor. And, you know, we raise it a little bit further, but I think that's about it. Like, imagine you have a very, very nice view and we're way back there, but then like we can't have a side window that I can see out from my dining room. So that is probably, sorry, my living room. So that probably is one of the items that while privacy is not totally a planning commissioner's role, but like it is something that we considered. However, there will be a point where neighbors' preferences cannot align, and that I ask, we rely on the zoning governance, the general principles and understanding of like space, like are we overboard or something, to make the determination that if we actually take our efforts in addressing neighbors. I also want to affirm one thing, like we are way under FAR, so it's not our fault that the lot is 20,000 square feet. We did not exploit it. If I have to, I can still exploit it for 3-story, for a ADU that can go past the square footage, but that's not what we're trying to do here. We just want, you know, Stephen, Nancy, at her retirement, they're living there together. She take care of his baby at Millbrae School District. That's kind of what we're trying to do here. So I kindly ask the commissioners, take a look at our merits of the design intention and also understand that like our bulk, while it's not close to the neighborhood right now, but it is actually the general intention of Millbrae zoning code to allow this kind of massing. Just because neighbors has not catch up to that massing, but zoning ordinance, FAR max, that is dictated long time ago by planning staff and also the you know, the compliance of city council, that there is a density increase needed, and this is actually allowed. So when we have subjective opinions, I want to go back to our objective standards and see that this is indeed actually a carefully crafted design, and hope I receive your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no additional comments for either the applicant or the architect, I'm going to open up the floor for public comments.
Say open the public hearing, technically.
Oh, public hearing, sorry. Yes, you're right. Thank you. I'm opening the floor for public comments at this time. A public hearing on this item. Speakers, please state your name and address for the record.
Okay, I have a couple slips. First person is Amin.
Dear Planning Commission, my name is Amin Zarian, owner of 1024 Crestview, adjacent property to 1030 Crestview. I ask the Commission not to adopt the proposed CEQA Class 1 categorical exemption for the following reason. Number one, unreliable geotechnical report. The geotechnical report should be disregarded. Page 4 of this report states that a seismic design value were calculated using the site coordinates, which is 40 miles away from 1030 lot. That's just a fact. Therefore, its location-dependent seismic value have no values. The poor quality of engineering assessment is the main reason that CEQA assessment by a reliable party is absolutely necessary for this project. Number two, violation of Code 15301. CEQA Class 1 refers to minor alteration of existing structure. 1030 project is increasing the living area by more than 3 times. This is not a minor alteration. Number three, violation of Code 15301E2. The city escapes to Section 15301E2, which permits a larger addition only when the surrounding area is not environmentally sensitive. The surrounding area of this property is environmentally sensitive for the following reason. 3.1, City of Millbrae has officially declared the Crestview hillside is a local hazard on 2010. 3.2, 1030 lot is located in a landslide zone. 3.3, the largest mudslide in the history of Bay Area has happened on Crestview hillside on March 2000 in less than 100 feet from this property. 3.4, there are more than 17 neighbors are objecting this project from the neighborhood. 3.5, there will be legal consequences approving this CEQA exemption. 4, violation of Code 15302C. This project has significant impact due to unusual circumstances. 5, violation of design review item 1. This massive bulk cubicle is just striving to maximize square footage and not align with the character of the neighborhood, as there are more than 15 neighbors, 17 neighbors objecting this. 6, violation of design review item 3. My property will lose 100% view from principal rooms due to privacy concern. 7, violation of design review item 4. The city-owned resolution confirms that hillside safety is noted and not unresolved. The city should not rely on the future investigation and magically conclude that this project is safe today. 8, violation of conditional use permit item 1.
Excuse me, it's 3 minutes. Your time is up.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your comment. Staff. Do you have other speakers?
Yep. Next one is Katayu.
Dear Planning Commission, my name is Katarina Latvi. I'm a resident of 1024 Crestview Drive, the adjacent neighbor to 1030 Crestview Drive. I strongly object to the proposed plan for the following Millbrae Municipal Code violations. Violation of Code 10.05-2500B3. 4, building which presents significant bulk compared to others nearby or have significant impact on neighboring views, privacy. Staff shall direct the applicant to change the proposed design as necessary to comply with these standards prior to review by the Planning Commission or issuance of any permits. We have severe privacy concerns from a 50-foot extension of this new building beyond the neighbor's building backline, looking into our most private area of residence, our bedroom and our bathroom. Violation of Code 10.05.2500C 2A and D. The project must be compatible with the neighborhood and must not be detrimental to surrounding properties. More than 3 times increase in living area from 1879 to 5,700 square foot, where all neighborhood living is less than 22 square feet. More than 17 neighborhood objection letters, as well as loss of privacy mentioned above, are simple examples of why this plan is detrimental. Violation of Code 10.05.2530 D1. Because this project requests an exemption, the city must find that the deviation will not be detrimental to an abutting property. As abutting property, this project plan is definitely detrimental to our privacy of bedroom and bathroom. Violation of Code 10.05.2520D. If the project requires a conditional use permit, it must not be detrimental to the comfort and welfare of neighboring residents. More than 15 property owners filed objections and reported this plan as detrimental. Violation of Code 10.05.2500B3. In the Planning Commission resolution document under Design Review Permit Section 3, the city claims that the project will not cause a significant visual impact to neighboring views from principal rooms of the resident. When I mentioned the privacy invasion to our bedroom and bathroom, I was told to get a brine and draw it down. This means my view from the principal room will 100% be lost due to the utilization of blinds for privacy mitigation. The city's claim for an unimpacted view is completely and utterly wrong. These violations have been reported to the city staff and the project architect many times, and unfortunately, the project owner is not willing to address these concerns. He wants a view, but my privacy doesn't matter. Even though privacy is a mutual concern, if they really want to live there, why would they want to be looking at my bathroom and my bedroom? My request: please kindly address our privacy concerns and all of the above code violations before approving this project. Kindly, thank you.
Next person is Anthony Kwan.
Hi, good evening. My name is Anthony Kwan. I live at 1038 Crestview, 2 houses away from my house. And when I heard that they go to build a big house right there, I'm very, very surprised. Because all my neighbor, the house is almost the same size. Now suddenly, they go to build a house, double the price longer. So they block the view. I don't care view that much, but at least the private. So all the window they're going to see in my house. From my deck, all the window I can see the house. So it's so pretty ugly. So that's why I very, very strongly object this plan. And that's a picture they showed from my deck. It's almost all the way to the yard, end of the yard. It looks, so that means after they build, we cannot see anything on the right side. So that's what my opinion. Thank you.
Next speaker is Jonathan Yang.
Good evening, everyone. I live at 1019 Pinehurst Avenue. I'd like to start off by saying thank you to Commissioner Nathan Chan. I think your due diligence in reviewing the prior project on Larkspur, and to see that it needed a second independent geotechnical survey goes directly to why I would be in opposition to this plan because of the landslide risk. I haven't seen Exhibit 6, so I don't know what the geotechnical survey looks like, but if it truly is from 40 miles away, I can't see how that would possibly be relevant. And while I trust the city staff in reviewing the geotechnical survey, again, if it's data being presented by a single party, if it's negligently done, we don't know the impact that that's going to have. Listening to Alex Zhang respond to the stormwater runoff question by Commissioner New seemed like a pretty cavalier response. It's their large lot, so they can handle it. If the lot starts falling down the hill, that's everybody's problem. And that's not something one homeowner is going to be able to pay for when it destroys the several houses below, or if it collapses the homes next to it. So I think these concerns should be addressed before this project can continue.
I'd like to note that the landslide that occurred was in March of 2000. We were all alive back then. My recollection of living in the Bay Area in the 2000s, it was pretty dry already. The geotechnical reports from that lawsuit, which I believe sit in my garage from the prior homeowner, indicate that there was heavy groundwater accumulation from the reservoir behind. So there is an existing concern there. And if you're not dealing with the stormwater runoff appropriately and it's accumulating groundwater, you're going to end up with the same landslide risk. To alleviate it, I'm surprised that there's not a representative, I think, legal representative from the city, because they got enjoined in that lawsuit, right? And they drilled, 200 feet down, poured it full of cement. There's 100 feet down? Okay. 50 feet apart, I believe, concrete pillars to support that side of the hill. That's obviously not done on the side that did not suffer the landslide. That's the remaining portion of the hill that we have. So those are my concerns. I think the landslide concern is very real. In these past 5 years, the last 2 years, we've had seemingly average rainfall, but the 3 years prior to that, we broke the drought, right? There's been extraordinary rainfall in those 3 years. I don't have the numbers, but I believe we are set to see more rainfall in years to come.
Excuse me, your time's up. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. Do we have other speaker slips?
Next speaker is Sal Delgado.
Good evening. My name is Sal Delgado from 1029.
If I could ask you to speak into the mic.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Sal Delgado, 1029 Pinehurst Court. And my concern is the condition of the hill below this project and above Pinehurst Court, the part that has not been remedied. All of those storm drains are still broken, in disrepair, and in the winter time, it's always overflowing, in the broken sections. The water flows like a waterfall and continually erodes that hill. Mr. Towser of 942 Larkspur Drive has been spent thousands of dollars clearing up mud that has come down in the past few years that comes and piles up against his fence. And he's had to put out a lot of money to clear that, but the hill is still in disrepair. So that is my main concern, that part of the hill is horrible condition. No true drainage there. Seems to me like there should be a moratorium on all building until that gets taken care of. That's what I think. Any questions?
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Yu Cho Sai.
Good evening. And I have 3 reasons. My concern is that the new building is going up from exciting. This will block out my meal. Number 2, garage addition will make the street parking worse. There is not a lot of support to parking on our street. Number 3, the hill is untenable. I was here when the hill went down. This can cause problem, so I'm not agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one more slip, Susan Lush.
Hi, I'm Susan Loesch, and I live at 1065 Sycamore Drive, which is 1 block up from Crestview. I've been a Millbrae resident since 1959. I went to schools here, grew up on Minorca. I lived on Pinehurst Court. I rented a house there when my son was went to Meadows. And then I purchased a home up on Sycamore, where I live now, in 1995. So I was there when the 2000 landslide occurred, and it was drastic. I just gave some images to show that this was not like just a landslide. This was a major, shearing off of this wall that came flooding down. It took out 6 houses, and they've spent maybe, I think I've read 8 million, 11 million, they got some kind of, state grant for it, which I doubt we'll get now because we're a blue state. But they shored up this area where that mudslide occurred, but not the rest of the area. So this little map that I put, I just kind of, this purple area is where the mudslide occurred previously. Oh, sorry. This purple area is where the mudslide occurred, and that has been engineered. And it was significant engineering. Here has not been engineered at all. This is where the house is located, the 1030. And, so of course we're concerned about this. I mean, these homes were all damaged, and part of the re-engineering is they have their back walls are all reinforced so that if the mud slides again, they'll it should stop it. The other issue, some people have pointed out, is we're headed into a potential super El Nino this year. And the other thing is, I had previously been in escrow before about this house on Bayview, and there was a mudslide back there the Saturday before the Monday. I had to remove the contingencies. And I learned from that there was a heavy colluvial soil mix, which is a clay, and when it gets wet, it gets really heavy. And this was a small hill, and it damaged the home next to the one I was going to purchase. So I, removed my bid on that house and then ended up buying this one. Another thing is landslides are not covered by homeowners insurance. If you have an earthquake and that causes a landslide and you have earthquake insurance, that might be covered, but a landslide is not covered. So we would have no coverage if that hill goes. I think the owners on Pinehurst were able to get something from the state and the, whatever, the Millbrae. I think there was a big lawsuit, but as far as the other important thing about the soil is that when it's dry, which it's been, can I just finish this one last comment, please? When the soil is dry, it cracks and it makes fissures. That whole area is like that. When it rains, the rain can't just run off. It goes down into those fissures, and that's where it gets so heavy, and that's where you have the massive mudslide.
Thank you. Thanks for your comment. Do you have another speaker or hands raised?
There are no more speaker slips, and I don't see any hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a motion to close public comments?
Close the public hearing.
Oh, public hearing. Thank you.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Thank you, commissioners. Please cast your vote.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0. Public hearing is now closed.
All right, discussion. Commissioners, comments, questions? Who would like to go first?
I'll say one quick comment. I appreciate the design of the landscape of this project. It does use a lot of native plants and drought-tolerant plants. It also is sensitive to like the fire hazard zone. A lot of the plants that's in front of the house are very low height, and there's still a separation of mulch before you get to another row of plants in the front of the building or property. And so I appreciate that. It also uses coast live oak that's around in the backyard here, or in the property's backyard. And yeah, I think that is also another just fire-resistant tree. One comment I would like to say, though, is that it does feel very tight in the spacing of where the tree is planted. Just the paver and the driveway is kind of narrow, and these trees usually are pretty big trunks. They do like a lot of root area, so that's one suggestion I would make to revise that, just to provide enough space for the tree to grow well.
My only comment here is I think the design is very nice. It's pretty bulky in the back. It is a nice design. I think that times people forget because it's not on the streetscape, but the poor people down the hill are even going to have to look up at this very, very large building. And I really do have concerns. As the lady in 56, I was very involved in that. And it was very, very scary. The geotechnical report says that with a lot of work, it could be built. So these are just a couple of comments right now that are coming to my head. I'd like to hear what everyone else has to say.
So on the what I see being proposed before us, to me, it does meet the standards in the code. They're not asking for any exceptions or other than, something in the front of the building, namely the garage. So, I hope that the applicant and the neighbors can continue to discuss how to balance being able to realize the project's potential while also, hopefully starting off on the right foot with the neighbors by not impinging too much on their privacy concerns. But there's nothing specifically written in our codes to make the trade-off one way or another. I am very sensitive to the concerns raised about the geotechnical stability. As I mentioned before, for a previous project, slightly downslope of this project, it wasn't brought to the commission without a peer review geotechnical study and the clearance of the building official. But on the other hand, I know that there's state laws that we can't just continue an item forever, so I don't want to ask for a continuation if there's no feasibility of these results being prepared by then. And as our purview is to judge the design review and compliance with the land use code, and then the building the geotechnical and building components would be taken care of by the building department. So I guess my question to staff again is, I'll formally ask staff now. So, is there any feasible time horizon where if we did choose to continue this item, that some of this material, like a peer-reviewed geotechnical report and some kind of clearance from the building department could be done?
Yeah, I think it's hard to predict how long that would take without being able to consult with them. So I don't think I can give you an accurate estimate of time as to how long that review would take and when we could come back to the Planning Commission.
Okay, so I guess there's some uncertainty. I think this is information that I think we need to would be nice to have for us to, you know, given the responsibility we have before us. So I'd be willing to wait for this information within what's legally permissible, but curious what the rest of the commission thinks.
So one other thing for information I would like to know too is just the stormwater management plan for this project. In addition to the geotechnical information, from my understanding, this project, the landslide zone is towards the the back 40 feet of the property. So most of the building is not within that area. However, there may be, depending on how stormwater is managed on this site, there may be some impacts or influences to that landslide area. For example, Alex, you mentioned dry wells. That's a pretty concentrated infiltration of water, and usually concentrated infiltration should not be within like roughly 100 feet at the top of a slope, especially a landslide area. So understanding where infiltration will happen, or even like sheet flows, because the project site itself is, formerly it was on a very flat area, so there was a lot more opportunity for runoff, but now once you get past the easement, it's a pretty steep drop off before much shallower or gentle slopes. And so there is some potential for erosion within that intermediary slope area. And so, yeah, just wanting to understand how this project will manage that runoff, because they're based on how it manages that runoff, it could have potential impacts on landslide and within that landslide zone.
Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
I'm just going to do all my comments now because I already forgot what you commented on. I was looking up his. In general, the project meets all of our codes and design guidelines. We are design guidelines. We are not the engineers. We're not the rest of the steps that happen after we approve a design. So we have a geotech report that's either wrong or has a typo, one or the other, who knows what it is. This needs to be improved, revised. However, it's not required for design review. This is a step that comes later and will be checked by the appropriate professionals with the city. So you need to get this repaired, whatever's wrong with it, with the longitude and latitude. But this isn't required right now. It's not our job, basically. It's somebody else's job later in the process. The size is big, but it's also a 19,000 plus square foot lot, and that is why such a big building is allowed to be built. The trend in Millbrae, as is everywhere else, is for larger homes. People like extra space, and they're often multi-generational, and that's why this one's going to be big. These are random, how they just kind of got written down here. For the stormwater, it's already a special condition in here, and yours, we could make a condition on the geotech report to make sure that this work that's already been done needs to be revised. Obviously, it's going to be part of the process, but this isn't perfect, and that needs to be noted somewhere. It could be in the conditions, perhaps. Where else? As you mentioned, these does meet all the standards. Kathy, you mentioned people down below are going to look up and see a big home. I drove on Pinehurst. I cannot see the project. No, I'm just saying from Pinehurst, I can't see the project. I could almost see a little bit of story posts through the trees a couple of times. But so the nearest neighbors are not impacted by the view of this larger home. Maybe farther away you can see it, but the size of it isn't going to harm the close neighbors. There was a window study in the report, and when I looked at it, very few windows align at all. And when it was, they were slight. And if we've raised windows, then that's a good thing. Some of them seem to be, they're awfully small, so they were probably bathrooms. Those I assume are going to be privacy windows. So there's no viewing each other's back and forth. But I know you guys are working on windows, so hopefully that will come to a happy conclusion. What else? That might we know the history of the landslide. And that was a tragic thing that happened 25 years ago. But we hope we've improved the hillside and we know better now. So all of the things that we're going to do should hopefully address what we know to be true. So in the city's report, the staff report addressed all of the concerns that had been brought forth before the meeting, and I'm satisfied with their answers. So that's me.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. And I'll say my comments. I think architecturally is a fine design. The use of natural materials is very in keeping of the neighborhood. I appreciate the landscape as rendered. Hopefully if or whenever this gets constructed, it will be built accordingly. And I think the architect's advice on height and setbacks are sound, relative to the lot that's provided here. And like the other commissioners, with respect to the exception request and the CUP, the conditional use, I think it's nothing out of the extraordinary that past commissions has approved. So it's very in keeping. The question that I've struggled with when reviewing this case was whether, or does the submitted geotech report adequately establish that this proposed project will not create or exacerbate the landslide or the slope stability hazard? And I think the question I have is whether this is within the purview of this commission and what the next steps are. And to Commissioner Chen's point, what is the timeline, and it's a question to staff, what is the typical timeline of what happens from this point forward, and whether this commission will still be involved on the more engineered aspects of a building, of a project like this?
Are you asking if the commission were to approve the project? Mm-hmm. So the next step would be the eventual submittal of a building permit application by the applicant. And that review would be for city staff. It would be planning, building and safety, public works, fire department. So all those various departments would review the building permit application for all the technical requirements, compliance with all the various codes for all those different departments. The timeline, it depends on the nature of the applicant's plans, how accurate they are, how many rounds of resubmittals might be required, the time it takes to review the geotechnical report, the various runoff plans and submittals. But the Planning Commission would not be involved in that process. So if the Planning Commission were to approve the entitlements tonight, that is the Planning Commission's involvement in this first phase of the development review process.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Kathy, yes.
I know how difficult this is when your privacy, or you think your privacy is all going to go away. But we do look at privacy, and I think that was addressed with the new windows. It's difficult. You don't own the air rights above somebody else's house, unfortunately. And so views are taken seriously as much as can be mitigated as much as possible. If it would be something easy to fix, I'm sure we would all do it. But I've been around a long time, and views are difficult. One other thing is that when the views are talked about, it's the view from your primary living area. It's really not effective as far as your view being taken away from a bedroom. And I think that if there was some other window that was affecting you, I'm sure that they would be happy to put a privacy window in so they could not see your house inside your room. Based on the numbers I am hearing and the location of the windows, I really don't think it would affect you. But if there was one, it's a big project and you are going to notice it. There's no question about it. But they are entitled to their property rights also.
I found one more comment in my notes, and it tags right off at the end of Kathy's. People who are homeowners in Millbrae already, existing owners of property, people who want to be future property owners in Millbrae have to be able to rely on our ordinances and rules and design guidelines when making their plans. So I think I heard that this person recently bought the property and they hopefully looked at what Millbrae allows them to do with such a large lot and decided to go through with it, with the purchase. If they can't rely on that, we're not helpful. We have to be ready to help people with these rules. Things can change over time, of course, but you've got to be able to rely on things on the day you're making a decision. And if we say, well, your project's great, but we can't build it, it does, even that meets all of our rules, regulations, ordinances, and design guidelines, then we're not being honest with the public. And I think we have to honor our rules.
Do any of the commissioners have further questions for staff or the architects at this time? Or are we willing to make a motion?
I just have a quick question in regards of our jurisdiction. Is it primarily then like the design, the planning aspect, and any of this like landslide, geotechnical, that is not within our realm of jurisdiction, just to clarify?
Yeah, could I ask council to help with that question or staff or?
Please repeat the question.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify the jurisdiction and what we're voting on for tonight, if it's like primarily the design and the planning or like, you know, the land use of this project, and if anything else technical is outside our jurisdiction of what we are overseeing. For example, like any of the landslide or geotechnical, and that would be something that would be worked out with the city.
So like a motion being made tonight would be a motion to adopt the resolution, which is would be approving the design review permit application, including all the conditions, the conditional use permit and the exceptions within, so that the feedback. So that would include everything like the geotechnical study would be, you know, within the scope of that. But you could approve with, you know, a condition, you know, like related to that report, a future review of it. Tony.
Yeah, and if I can just kind of add to that, and just for, you know, the public's clarification as well, what you're approving tonight is not a building permit, right? If you approve this, the applicant can't go and put shovels in the ground tomorrow and build the project. So you are approving just the design review, the conditional use permit, the exceptions. It's the preliminary entitlement. You're not approving the geotech report. You're not approving any of the runoff plans or anything like that. You're approving the conditions that they have to get these approved by the city, the building department, the public works department, all of that before they can get a building permit.
I would say, you know, if it's not already a matter of standard procedure, if we could attach a condition of approval to have a peer review of the geotech report, I think that would, you know, be us wanting the due diligence for the project. So.
And by peer review of the geotech report,
so
do you mean someone besides the building division?
Yeah, so like I said,
Third party.
Yeah, the 990 Larkspur project, the applicant had a geotech report. The city hired a different firm to peer review it, and then the building official cleared it.
So public comments has closed at this point. Commissioner Davis?
No, I mean, exactly what he was saying, the special condition could be that the existing geotech report be revised and any subsequent reports need to be peer reviewed, and as well as the city check. And that could be the special condition we add to tonight's resolution.
And since the geotech report was attached to our packet, I also wanted to voice a couple of things I read. One was that I think this geotech report pertains to the project site. I would like the geotech report to also address the larger vicinity, not just within this particular site. And the second was that the construction observations should extend beyond just the construction of foundation.
Chair Choi, I'm curious what, you know, I don't think we want a geotech report for the whole hillside.
No.
So like what scope of work do you think is reasonable?
And again, I don't think it's within the Planning Commission's purview to dictate what the geotech report looks like, but my observation is that this geotech report is very much about the site and site only, and doesn't fully address the concerns about the overall, what the impact of this project has on potential landslide concerns. Yes, please.
But this is only for this project. They aren't responsible for the wider world, whether it's 100 yards away or 100 miles away. They're not responsible for that land. We can't ask them to survey beyond their own property. I don't think. We have experts in the room. Perhaps the staff or city attorney can weigh in. I don't recommend.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
He was suggesting that he wished that the geotech report talked about something off-site of the property. And I'm saying that that's not the homeowner's responsibility to survey anything beyond their own property. It's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think we would have to leave that to the building official as to what extent they would want to see in that geotech study. But typically, yes, these are only applicable to the parcel, the subject parcel.
So if we were to make a motion and add a special condition, mine is not saying what should be in the report, it is the quality of the report. And the quality of the report is a revised report of the existing one. It then be peer reviewed, and then be, obviously it's part of normal procedure, the city's gonna review it. But that makes the report better, not what's in it. The report probably has standard elements that are required by all building departments and all that, but we could put in that peer review, which is what Commissioner Chan wants to add, and I agree.
Commissioner Quake?
Yeah. I have another question as we're speaking here, because I was not here when, I guess, we approved the other project on another, that went to the city council.
On Larkspur, we did.
We did? Yeah, I wasn't here that night. Was that one only specific, I guess, to the parcel that was in question? Okay. Because my thought is, it's just, I know it's like a little bit over, it's just a little bit further away from the real bad portion of this. I'd hate to be a part of not doing a little bit more research on the total hill. I'm asking a question.
Could you re-ask the question?
Yeah.
Please repeat, I didn't realize.
I mean, it was a comment from me, maybe for all the other commissioners, but as legal, it is so close to a very traumatic issue that happened. And I guess, question, the geotechnical report is going to say, or it is saying, that that particular property can do what they're doing, and that's not going to affect the hill. But I'm thinking, should we as a city even research it a little bit before we say it's okay, and then the next one's going to want to do it? I just, it's really a touchy situation because of the history. And that part of what had happened at that time that was part of the issue is that the culverts had just all grown over. Like I say, I was there. I saw the quicksand coming down that mountain. And it was just gonna just take us all. It was dark and you just saw it coming down. And I'm just wondering to allow more, I don't know how to even explain it. It's a very scary situation, that whole hill. So I'm asking as an attorney, as a city, is it okay that we just say this house is okay and then everything else fall apart?
I mean, from a legal standpoint, I think you'd be relying on like the typical standard of practice for that kind of report. But I mean, I think you could, like my understanding is that, you know, from what the commissioners have said, that you could add a condition to the conditions of approval. You could approve, adopt the resolution, you know, with a condition added.
I really like the design, and when I say you could see it from above, no, you can't see it from Pinehurst Street, but I wonder how the people on Pinehurst, it's going to feel to them. But as far as the design, it really is a lovely design. But like I say, I just have some concerns about that hill. So if we feel that what we're asking now is going to suffice, then I'm okay.
I'm just going to say, again, that we're design review. We're not the engineers. The engineers come in later. We can approve a design. If the engineers say this isn't safe, the engineers will make that call way down the road. But it's not our job. Ours is design review. We can add a special condition to make sure that, because we were given a document that's flawed, we can make sure this gets repaired and have it peer reviewed, which just means another set of professional eyes are going to look at it and make sure that all things look good. If that peer review comes back with more information, then our building people will work with that information as well to make sure everything is as safe as possible. So, but this is a design review for this property, and we don't tell our city staff what to do and don't do. That's, I don't think, anywhere when it comes to surveying properties that we're not evaluating our job to do. That's way out of our lane. We need to focus on this project and its design.
But the fact that this was attached to our packet, is that just extraneous information that we could ignore as part of our approval, or?
No, I'm not saying we ignore it. One thing, though, normally a geotech report is not in our
Correct.
packet. It doesn't exist
It doesn't
at our
exist, right.
stage. We received a document that has a flaw in it. Okay,
Right.
so we're gonna mention that this was part of the packet. It's flawed, it needs to be revised, corrected, and then we would also like it peer reviewed. And we could maybe do that in the future. If we have another steep slope we're worried about, we can ask that any geotech reports that exist for that can also be peer reviewed. Make it part of our process, perhaps, ad hoc as we go along, special condition after special condition. But we can acknowledge this exists, but our professionals are going to take care of the process ahead of, in front of us.
Are we ready to make a motion? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Move to approve the resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Millbrae approving a design review permit application to allow a 3,149 square foot front and rear addition and a remodel of an existing 1,897 square foot two-story residence, a conditional use permit to modify an existing non-conforming garage encroaching into the required west front north side setbacks, and an exception request to retain the existing substandard parking spaces in the single-family residential R1 zoning district, and determining that the project is exempt from California's Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to CEQA guidelines, section 15301, class 1 existing facilities, with an added special condition to have the attachment 6 geotech report be revised and corrected, and later peer-reviewed.
I will second.
Oh, please cast your vote.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-1.
The action of the Planning Commission is considered final pending a 10-day appeal period and the payment of the required appeal fee. For anyone that wishes to appeal the decision of the Planning Commission, please contact the city clerk at 650-259-2414 or etran@ci.millbrae.ca.us with appeal process questions or visit the City of Millbrae website. Do we have new business?
No.
Any staff update?
Just a reminder that the next Planning Commission meeting on September 7th is canceled. The next Planning Commission meeting on September 7th is canceled for the holiday. And it appears that the second meeting in September also will most likely be canceled, but we'll keep you posted on that.
Planning Commission announcements?
I have can I make a comment
Yes,
right
please.
now? When are we going to get an updated?
Speak to the mic, please.
Yeah, when are we going to get that updated report on?
Excuse me, sorry, if you don't mind talking either outside or stay. Thank you.
Sure, yes. We haven't forgotten about that. We want to make sure that Brad's here for that report, so he can be here to provide information, answer questions. So probably the next Planning Commission meeting that we will have, we'll have that report for you.
And if you were to provide a report, it would be on the agenda, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other announcements? No?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are there any updates on that gas station on, it's on? Any questions on the gas station on the corner of Millbrae Avenue? I mean, it's been like years.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to provide that as an update. The future meeting, we can agendize that and provide an update. I mean, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it isn't an agenda item, so we really can't.
Oh, even as an overview? Oh.
Yeah.
You're also certainly welcome to give us a call or contact us outside of commission. We can
I got it.
provide some info.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. And, oh, Commissioner Davis? Oh, okay. Well, with no additional business to consider, I will adjourn this meeting at 8:44 p.m.
Hey, we did good.
Thank you.